All right. Well, once again, I would like to thank everybody for joining me today on this special webinar. We will be going through buying and selling leads on auto finance leads based on a static cost and a static price. So we'll be going through some setup and how to get leads into the system. I'll actually show you the schedule here. So first off, we're going to cover posting leads into your system through your lead types and your sources. And we'll be using auto finance as the example today. So if you're dealing in auto finance, this will be a great one. Hopefully you'll learn a lot and find some useful takeaways from this webinar. But if you're not working with auto finance leads at this point, this will still be applicable to you. You'll still be able to set your system up to get the leads in and be selling to your buyers based on the filter sets. So then we'll be covering delivering leads to the right buyer, setting up your filter sets, and then we're going to be covering call center verification, which is a special feature of boberdoo. So we'll go into more detail into that. And then lastly, we'll cover outbound automation, which is our email and SMS drip campaigns, which you can send to market to your leads that are inserted into your system. And then lastly, we'll cover Q&A. So feel free to type your questions in the chat as we go through this, and we'll definitely be able to answer those questions either as we go if they're applicable to where we are in the system. Otherwise, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So without further ado, let's get right into the system. All right, so today we're going to be going through our lead portal system, but yours will look very similar to this. And if you don't have your logo here in the system yet, feel free to just send me an email or anybody an email or create a ticket, and we'll get that logo added to your system. So in order to get leads into the system, you'll need to provide your lead seller two things if they're posting leads. So whether you're buying leads from a third party or if you're just posting leads in from your landing page, you're going to be getting leads in the exact same way. So you just go to settings, lead types, and then auto finance is the example we'll be using today. You can click this link out. So this is the exact link that you'll want to provide your tech team or your lead seller, whoever's integrating the landing page with your system, with your boberdoo system. All right, so with auto finance, you'll notice some fields like gross monthly income, time with employer, credit score, monthly payment, home type. So these are some specific fields that you can filter on, and based on which value the lead provides, you can sell that to different lead buyers at different prices. So for example, if you have certain buyers who only accept excellent or good credit, then you can filter based on these values. And I'll show you how to set that up later on in the filter set. But you'll notice the required fields in red and the non-required fields in black. Required meaning it must be posted in, otherwise the lead will get rejected and not be able to post into the system. Optional fields, of course, they don't need to be posted in, but it always helps if you have that information, like if you have the cell phone of the lead, it'd be better to ask your lead seller to post that in. And then scrolling down, we have response types. So each lead that is inserted into the system will return a response, either a matched, unmatched, or an error response. Matched, this is a good response. It means it was posted successfully in your system and it did match to your lead buyer. Unmatched means that the lead successfully posted into your system, but it did not match any of your lead buyer's filter sets in your system. So it will just stay in your system on the leads page as unmatched. And then later on, you can reprocess these unmatched leads. And then lastly, the last response is an error response, which of course, this means the lead did not successfully post in, it was rejected. Maybe there was an issue with the mapping, so home type, if they attempt to post in a non-capital H and a non-capital T, that will get rejected because it's not exactly as the lead type says. So this is your lead type. These are the instructions for posting into your system. And one field you'll notice is this SRC field, also known as a source. And this is your main tracking variable, so how you know where the lead comes from. And some of our clients might have thousands of sources, or maybe hundreds of sources if they're getting leads from a ton of different places. And other clients of ours only have one or two sources, which would be their own landing pages. So it really depends on how you're generating these leads and getting the leads from, or where you're getting the leads from. But you'll need to create all your sources in the system so that you can track where the leads come from. So let me show you how to set that up. So to set up each source, this is done under Settings, and then Source of Vendor Settings. And you can create sources for each lead type. So auto finance, you'll notice we have a couple sources here. Email reprocess, a dynamic source, which would be if you're purchasing these leads on a ping post basis, and then static source. This is just an example. Maybe this would be your landing page. So let me go ahead and add a new source. Let's just say we built out a new landing page for our auto finance campaign. We're sending emails to a bunch of our leads, and we're driving them to our new landing page. So let's just call this auto finance landing page. Landing page 1, because you might have multiple landing pages. And all right, so we're going to walk through these options. There are a lot of different switches here. Most of these are applicable to ping post. So today we're covering static purchasing of leads, which means that you have a set price per lead, or that you're not dynamically buying these leads, and that you have a set price for all of your lead buyers. They're paying a static price for each of these leads. So these types of sources are much more simple to set up in the system, and I'll be walking through these about these top 10 options here. All right, and if you ever do need a refresher on like what does a vendor mean or what does manual review check mean, you can click here and it will bring you to a definitions page on our website. It will tell you exactly what all of these source options mean. Oh, and also you'll notice we do have this new feature, notifications. If you click this, you'll start receiving notifications from Boberdoo whenever we're holding, special events like this webinar, or if you want to check out like one of our newsletters, feel free to hit that notifications, allow notifications there. But all right, let's get back to the source. We set up a new landing page for auto finance. And in order to receive leads from the source, this must be active. If you have it inactive, then leads will not be able to post in. This call center verification cron job enabled. Brett will be covering this in more detail further on in about 20 minutes or less once we get to that part. So stay tuned for that. Manual review check. So this is an option where if you want the lead to post into your system, but if you don't want it to distribute to your buyers, then you select yes here. Otherwise, you'll want to select no, and that will, when a lead is posted in through this landing page, the lead will automatically distribute to your lead buyers. Lead QC check. This is an optional add-on. You can easily turn it on by clicking yes here. And once you do that, then each lead that's posted in from your auto finance landing page, they will start being scored. They will go through our quality control check, and basically that check will verify that it's a good lead, that it's a quality lead. For example, if the lead submits Mickey Mouse 123 Main Street 55555 as the phone number, then Lead QC will easily check that, and it will not allow that bad lead to sell to your lead buyer. So if you want more information on Lead QC, feel free to reach out on chat or email us. We're happy to let you know any information you want on that. And a couple more options here that we're going to cover, lead cost. So if you do want to assign a static cost for each lead posted in from your landing page, let's just say that each lead costs you $20 to generate. A lot of the times you don't really have a static cost for that, so it's hard to tell how much each lead costs. But if you do have one, you can put that here in the lead cost and use that for your own reports. All right, and then this last option I wanted to cover is partners per lead here in the source settings. So if you're selling leads exclusively, you can simply put this to 1. But this is the maximum amount of times that a lead can sell. So if you put 3 here, that means it could potentially distribute to 3 of your different buyers. All right, so what I'm going to do now is save this. I'm going to copy this exactly how it is. I'll save it. And you'll see this new source was added to the system. So now we can begin posting leads in. So I'm going to go back to our posting specs for auto finance, and you'll see this SRC. This is assigned by the lead company, and you are the lead company here, so you need to provide this SRC to whoever's integrating your landing page. Easy way to do this is just paste in that SRC value, click submit, and then you'll see that it populates the SRC field, and it also changes the link here at the top. So this is the exact link that you would provide to your tech team who is building out the integration between your landing page and boberdoo, and this should be everything they need to start posting leads into the system. So that was just a quick rundown of how to get leads into the system on a static posting into the system. And yesterday we covered dynamic posting into the system, so feel free to, if you weren't able to attend, feel free to check out the recording, and if we did not send you that recording, we'd be happy to do so. Just feel free to reach out to David at boberdoo. I'll put my email here in the chat. All right, so we've covered how to get leads into the system and also how to track your incoming leads through these different sources. So let's move on to how to send leads to your lead buyers. All right, and that's going to be done on the Partners tab. It might be called different in your system, like agents or clients, whatever you requested at the beginning of your setup. But today we're going to be using the Partners tab. And then let's just say we want test buyer 1. We want these guys to start receiving our auto finance leads. So in order to receive leads, test buyer 1, they need 3 different things. They need an active account, and you can activate and deactivate the account right here. They need funds in their account, so you'll notice they currently have a negative balance of 120, and that is possible because we've issued them a credit limit, which allows them to run negative. So to issue a credit limit, you can come to the Edit Partner tool here, and then all these sub-tabs will pop up specifically for this partner. We can go to the Invoicing and Billing tab to issue a credit limit. So you'll notice this buyer here has no limit, which means they have unlimited money in their account. They'll always be eligible to receive leads because they have money in the account. You can also give a certain limit, so if you put 2,000 here, once they hit negative 2,000, they will no longer be able to buy leads unless you manually add more leads to their account. You can manually add leads from the Transactions tab. So the Transactions tab, this is another way to add funds for example, if they're paying you outside of the system in advance for leads, and they drop a check off at your office for $500, or if they pay you online for $500, you can come to the Transactions tab and then easily just add $500 to their account. So that's another way to add funds. You can either issue a credit limit here on the Invoicing Billing tab, or add funds on the Transactions tab. So let's move on to the filter sets. All right, so in order for this buyer to receive an auto finance lead, of course they need an auto finance filter. And these filter sets are probably the most important part of the system, because the filter set determines what type of lead this lead buyer is willing to accept, and also at what price they're paying. So in the drop-down here, we'll have all of our different lead types, and we want this partner to receive an auto finance lead. This $10 here, this is not necessarily the price. This is just the default price that you have in the system. So you can always change this. We're going to click Add New Filter Set. And you'll see all of these different options. This is where you're setting up the filter set. So what type of lead they accept, what states they accept, what zip codes. You can drill down on credit score, monthly income, and monthly payment. So starting at the top, we have the filter set name. And once again, if you do need a refresher on what does a lead price mean, what does profit margin mean, what does accepted lead sources mean, just click here and it will bring you to definition of all of these. So the filter set name. We want to use a naming convention so that we know exactly what is contained in this filter set. In order, just by quickly glancing at the filter set, we know what kind of leads they're accepting. So let's just do credit score, Wisconsin, good or excellent credit score. They're only going to be accepting leads from this auto finance landing page, the new landing page we set up. And then let's just see these other filterable fields. Gross monthly income, let's just say 3,000 plus. So this is a very detailed filter set name, as you can see, but that gives us, just by quickly glancing at it, we know what kind of leads they're accepting. And then we have the lead price. Let's put this at $25. These fake ping prices, you don't have to worry about these. These are probably not available in your system at this point, and they're only applicable if you're dynamically reaching out to this partner's lead buyers, if they have like a Boberdoo system, for example. So don't worry about these. Profit margin, this is also only applicable to ping post. So now we can set up sources. So if they accept leads from all sources, you can select all. But for this example, we're just going to say they only accept leads from this source, auto finance landing page. And now we have, how are we delivering this lead to them? Are we sending them an email? Are we posting into their system? So this is where you select this, like how you're delivering the lead to them. And if you're posting into their system, that needs to be done through a custom delivery, as I'm sure most of you already know. So if you need a custom delivery built, feel free to create a ticket and attach your buyer's posting specs. You can also set up additional delivery options. You can set up a custom email from address here. And then we have priority. So priority works like this. When a lead comes into the system, it can match to multiple filter sets, and then the lead will distribute to whichever filter set has the highest priority. So let's just say you have one filter set with a priority of 6 and another one with a priority of 5. 6 is the higher priority, so that 6 priority, they will receive the lead first. If you have both filter sets at the same priority, then the lead will distribute in a round-robin basis. Then you can set exclusivity settings right here. You can set your lead limits per day, per week, per month. Do you accept manually reviewed leads? This is only if you're using that manual review option at the source level. Then you can set your times that this buyer accepts leads. You set the time zone first, so we're using Chicago Central Time, and then if they're only receiving leads between 9 and 5 Central Time, then you would select those times here. This is military time, and let's just say 9 to 5 between Monday and Friday, and you can also set a price here. This price will override whatever price you have at the top. All right, and then lastly, we get down to the actual geographic segmentation. So I'm going to select Wisconsin so that this buyer is only accepting a Wisconsin lead. And then we can further select zip codes. If they don't accept all zip codes in Wisconsin, then you can drill down based on distance or county. I'll go ahead and do distance. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, at our Madison office here. So we'll use the Madison zip code, and then let's just say 50 miles within Madison, only in Wisconsin. Click generate, and you'll see 176 zip codes were found. And now this buyer is only accepting these zip codes. If the lead fills out this on your landing page, then this buyer will be eligible to receive the lead. And then lastly, we're going to select our filters for credit score, excellent and good, and then our gross monthly income, 3,000 plus. So actually, I'm assuming since this is the highest tier of gross monthly income, that this would actually be a more expensive lead. So I'll go ahead and put the price a little higher here since this is a high quality lead, and let's go ahead and save the filter. So once you do that, you'll see that this buyer, or you'll see the filter set up here, and it is not currently activated. We'll need to activate it first in order for this buyer to receive these auto financed leads. And you'll also see that this buyer accepts different kinds of leads, like legal short leads, inbound phone, and then this other legal lead type. So that is how you set up a filter. That's how you determine which buyer is going to accept the leads that are coming into the system. So now I think I'll quickly show you guys the leads page, but then we're going to move on to call center verification, where Brett can take over and go through that. All right, so the leads page. This is a real-time view of all of your incoming leads. You'll notice we have had about 7 leads submitted today. It is just looking at today's date. And on the right-hand side, you'll see whether a lead was matched and who it matched to, whether it went unmatched, or whether it was declined. So these are all different dispositions or outcomes that can happen for a lead that comes in the system. And then you'll also notice this waiting for call center approval option, which Brett will go into more detail here. Yeah, so Brett, are you on the line here?
Yep, can you hear me all right?
Yes, sure can. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and take it away. Start going over call center verification.
All right, is there any way you can pass the controls over? Or?
Let me see. Let me try that out. Pass it to you. So you should be able to accept the presenter role now. And as we're waiting for this to download on Brett's screen, feel free to type any questions in the chat. I know we're going through these portions pretty quickly here, but there haven't been any questions yet, so feel free to, maybe you could be the first one to ask a question.
All right. Looks like it's passing over right now. Should be a couple more seconds.
Cool. Brett, I could just control it.
Yeah, it looks like it's not working anyway. Okay, so if you want to maybe just go ahead and click on the column configuration tool. So in case you're not aware, on your leads page, there's this nice little tool that looks like a gear icon. And it's a relatively new feature in which each individual user that logs into your system can program or set how they want the leads page to display. So this includes what fields or columns to be displayed, as well as the order can be drag and dropped as well. So yeah, go ahead and remove like landing page, sub-ID, unique identifier, and first name, just so we can get. I want to be able to see I like to be able to see the partners tab all the way to the right without having to move over. So this page or this little pop-up can help you set that to how you want to do it. And the great thing about that is it's on a user per user basis. So if you log in, you can set it to how you want it. If your other employee logs in, they can set it how they would like it as far as the order in the fields to show. So what we wanted to cover here, and again, thank you, David, for covering that first part. We want to cover call center verification. So what this is exactly what it sounds. It's a way for you to take leads that come in and call verify them to make sure that the lead actually wanted to maybe get an auto finance lead, verify that their information is correct, their phone number is correct, so on and so forth. So what we can do is we can enable that call center verification feature. It's just the backend switch we have to enable. And then you have the ability on a partner by partner or buyer by buyer basis to enable it or disable this. Now please note that the call center verification will only work if this buyer has a static or direct post delivery. So with that in mind, you can see here on the leads page, lead ID 45. You can see it has that check mark, which designates that it's waiting for call center approval. And also, it's hard to see on the screen, with it being a little bit zoomed out, but there is a icon that looks like a headset under the tools on the left-hand side. So, right next to the lead log, there's a show call center tools. So when leads come through, what happens with call center verification is the lead comes through, just like any normal lead would. We process that lead to see who can match, just like a regular lead. We check all the filters, account balance, lead limits, everything like a normal lead would. Once we finally match it to a buyer, we then process that lead. However, we do everything but deliver the lead. So at this point, that lead's, the vendor who sent the lead in would receive back matched. Okay, so they think that it's sold, because as of right now it is. It's just not delivered to that buyer yet. And what the call center verification allows you to do is it allows you to verify the lead before you actually deliver the lead to the buyer. So the lead came through, it got flagged for waiting for call center approval because this buyer has that option set. So now what happens is, you can do it yourself. Some people elect to hire a call center. Some people elect to hire, a person to just go through and log in and call these leads. That's completely up to you. But what you can do then is click on this Show Call Center Tools icon for any lead that's waiting for call center approval. And it's almost like a reprocess button or approve and process button. So as soon as you click that Show Call Center, yep, that one right there, it's going to give you a pop-up. And the pop-up, you can either approve the lead, set it as unmatched, or you can decline it. So approve will mean that the lead was approved, and then that will trigger to deduct that dollar amount from that buyer's account balance, and then it will also deliver the lead to them. If you do unmatched, that will roll back and unmatch it, and that will then allow you to reprocess the lead to match to whoever you'd want to. And then finally, decline is a way to go through and set the lead as declined. And let's go ahead and just click decline there. And don't click set status yet. So here what happens when you select decline, and then you'll get an additional drop down where you can select the decline reason. Now by default, the only reason is bogus lead. We can populate this drop down full of whatever values you want. So that's up to you. All you gotta do is submit a ticket and say, hey, I want the decline statuses to be these options of 15 different phrases or sentences or words, however you want to put it. So if you decline it, you can set the reason, and then you can also put in, put in internal notes that you want to have for why the lead was declined. So just click out of the X, don't actually set it to declined for now. So just want to highlight then the 4 different leads I have, or the 3 or 4 different leads I have here. So we see the one with the check mark, that's the one that's waiting for call center approval. It's pending. It hasn't been processed yet. And then if we go to lead ID, let's go to lead ID 53, the declined one. So this is one that we already set to declined. And if you click on the show lead log icon, you can see the very most recent log is it shows you who within the system set the lead and what they set the status to. So this user set to the status to decline with that particular reason. So that way you always have a log of who is making the changes and what they were changed to. So now if you close out of that pop-up, and let's click the same thing for lead ID 43. So this is one, that one looks like a normal matched lead when you look at it, but when you click on the lead log, this is one that we actually set to approved. So, after they're approved, they look like just like any normal lead would, sold and matched to that particular buyer for that price point. Now go ahead and close that out, and then lead ID 55, the final example is one we set as unmatched. So you might be asking, well, why would I set it as unmatched? You'll notice that when these leads come through and they're in the call center verification, they actually match to a partner. So a lot of the times, or what most people do is they're calling on behalf of that buyer, okay? Hi, Mr. Smith, I'm calling you on behalf of Auto Financing Ping, Mr. Tester, to verify that you're looking for, an auto finance lead, or whatever the call center person will say. And you can verify that the person's looking to get, and that's who they're matched to. And if they say that that's great, you can then approve it, and then it delivers that lead to that particular buyer. So the ability to roll it back to set as unmatched will then allow you then to try to sell it to a different buyer. So that's where the case of the using the unmatched will come in. So those are the different options we have here. And if you close out of this pop-up, David, and go ahead and click the filter icon, when you do have call center verification enabled, there is a particular filter where you can select to filter out to only view leads that are waiting to be processed. So in this filter icon pop-up, just like your normal pop-up, you can filter by source and so on, but there's also call center options, and you can either filter by waiting for approval or ones that are already processed. So when you click waiting for approval and click filter, it then only shows that one particular lead. So therefore, if you hire someone, instead of them having to filter through it, and look lead by lead, you can have them just filter, and that way it will only bring up the leads that they need to actually verify. So in order to get this set up, if you would like to have it done, there are a few things that have to be set up on the back end. So all we would just ask you to do is to put in a ticket, say, hey, we want call center verification set up. It requires two different things, and which we'll cover right now. If you go to the Partners tab, so say you have a partner that you want to have this call center verification feature, so every lead that comes in and matches to them is going to get this call verified. So let's click on 137 and go to their account information. So when you click on one, the default status or the default tab it goes to is account settings, and at the very top you can click the tab for account information. And if you scroll down just a little bit, there is an option below the labels and the partner groups for call center verification. So if you want that set to yes, you're going to make sure it has the checkbox and then scroll down and click save. If it's set to the red X, that means no. So that's step one, all right? Very simple, right? The next step is they have to have a particular they have to have a particular delivery assigned to them. And since we do that whole thing with making sure they have, it goes to the buyer and it doesn't actually send to them. So they have to have something that has a delivery that's flagged for this call center verification. So that's just something we have to create. We can take your standard normal emails and make them call center verification eligible so that you can select as a separate email delivery option. And then it would work just like a normal delivery. You choose it from the delivery option, set the email address you need the email sent to, and that can work that way. It can work with a posting too as well if they have a delivery to send the leads into their own CRM. As long as it's a non-ping post, you're eligible to then do that. And if you're asking why it cannot work with ping posts, because when you do the ping post, we don't know for sure if they're actually going to accept the lead or not. So you don't know for sure unless you actually send the lead. And the whole point of this is actually to not send the lead over to the buyer until it's verified. So all you have to do is select a particular delivery method, which we can create for you, whatever email format you need, HTML, plain text, PDF, whatever it may be, ADF, XML, which is a standardized auto finance delivery method in that industry. That can also be set as well. So that was the majority of everything I wanted to cover with the call center verification. So it's just a matter of us switching something on the back end and making a new delivery, and then all you have to do is set the partner's account to be call center verification equals yes, and then the leads come through, and you can verify those before actually delivering them to your buyers.
Cool. Thanks, Brett.
No problem.
So, yeah, we're going to move on to outbound automation soon. But before we do that, we did have a question from Ryan. Brett, maybe you can answer this one. We have several lead buyer accounts. Some accounts have hard lead prices, and others are dynamic ping posts with no set price. If we're pinging out to all of our buyer accounts at once, can the ping post dynamic accounts and the call center verification lead price accounts conflict, or would that cause timeout issues?
It's a very good question. So I'll just start with the flow from the very beginning. So the important thing to remember with the call center verification is that it works kind of just like a normal lead does. Everything processes as normal. The only thing that's different is that when we go to actually deliver the lead, if it's call center verification, we don't deliver it. So to answer your question, it will not cause conflicting issues, because what happens is, let's say the lead comes through and there's 3 different buyers that all take the lead. One's two are ping post buyers and one's a call center verification email delivery. For the email delivery, we of course just grab the lead price from their filter set. And then for the pings, we're going to ping them out, and if they return back a dynamic price, if their dynamic price is higher than the call center verification, we're just going to do the delivery to the ping post buyer. But if the call center verification ends up being the highest bidder, then that process will be, the lead will come through, and the vendor who's sending the lead or your form is going to get back, a valid matched response that the lead sold, and the lead shows as sold in your system. It just doesn't deduct the money from the account or deliver the lead until you approve it. So it will not conflict. So you'll definitely have it just your normal process, but just when it comes to the delivery, if it's call center verification, it doesn't send out.
Cool, thank you. All right. Cool. So, Tyler, you want to take it away and start up with the outbound automation overview?
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sure can.
All right. So we're going to run through the outbound automation feature just really quickly at a high level. So obviously we're going to be focusing on sort of some auto finance campaigns, but keep in mind this is something that you can obviously run from basically any lead vertical. So at a high level, what outbound automation is it is a email and push notification marketing service. So David, if you could go to the setup tab. So you're probably fairly familiar with the MailChimps and the Constant Contacts of the world and some of those emailing services. So right off the bat, I just wanted to mention a couple things that makes our system a little bit different. So the first is that we integrate with third-party service providers in order to send emails and send push notifications. So you can see on the screen here, we've got quite a few different ESPs plugged into the system. So the reason we do this is it gives you ultimate flexibility when delivering your emails. So you can obviously track the performance of each individual ESP and optimize your deliverability that way, but you can also set failover rules. So let's say you run into this scenario where one email service provider hits a daily limit or fails to send for any reason, you can have a failover ESP take over and continue your sending. So there's a lot of sophisticated options with that. I definitely won't get into all the details on that, but I also wanted to mention another unique feature about the system, and that is, as you can see, it's built directly into your lead system. So there's a lot of advantages that go along with that, one of which being list segmentation from the start, being able to segment all of your incoming leads the second they enter the system, and based on filtering criteria that are unique to your lead types. And there's also a couple other features that we'll get to in a second. So first, in this list tab here, you can see there's a couple list options. So I'll just explain in a little bit more detail how the system works. So you have the option to set up both static and dynamic lists. So static lists there's two options here. The one is being able to upload a file. So this is standard. Any emailing system that you'd upload a CSV file of all your email addresses, and then you can then send any campaigns to them. There's also an option to grab leads that are already existing in your system. So basically what you do is you pick a lead type, you pick your criteria, and you can automatically generate leads that are already in your boberdoo system into a list. So those are your static options. They work like other emailing services where you'd select you'd build a campaign, you select a date of launch, then you'd send it out. The other option, which is certainly unique to our system, is the dynamic lists. So this allows you to segment incoming leads in real time and then distribute them into any lists that you'd like. And not only can you enter those into lists in real time, but then you can also launch campaigns in real time. So this is basically the automated portion of this system. It allows you to, like I said, segment those lists and then launch campaigns that can be as simple as autoresponders, but they can be as complex as 10 email drip campaigns. So that is sort of the set it and forget it portion of the system and allows you to build ultimate automation when building out those campaigns. So next, David, if you could go to the Creatives tab, just go show you some email options here. So if you open up one of those auto finance emails, if you click the Edit tool, so our email builder, there's a couple options you have. So we obviously already have some templates and themes built into the system that you're free to use. We also have a blank HTML editor where you could build emails similar to the one you see on the screen here. Or if you already have emails built, you can just plug those right into the system. And then finally, if you have any specific ideas on emails you'd like built, you can certainly submit those to us, and we can build those custom for you as well. So also you'll see on the screen that our emails are split into 4 different sections: the subject line, from line, the email body, and then the footer. So the reason we do this is that it allows you to segment all of your email pieces and run A/B tests or tests to see which subject line is performing better, and it allows you to swap each individual piece in and out of each email. All right, so finally, let's jump into the campaign section and just take a look at a couple examples. So I mentioned at the beginning there's certainly a lot of different campaign types you can run. A lot of our clients are running simple one email autoresponders. You can manage your newsletter. Cross offers is a great campaign type. You can run specific campaigns only to any leads that go unmatched. You could run affiliate offers, and there's even automatic reprocess options. So just threw a lot at you there, but let's take a look at a couple specific examples. The first is the auto finance to auto insurance cross offer. So if you could click the edit button on there, David. Perfect. So this is just one example of a campaign that we strongly suggest you running. It's a cross offer from one lead type to another lead type. So the way this works is we can set up a dynamic list for this campaign. The second an auto finance lead enters your system, you can automatically enter them into this campaign to start sending out. So in this example, we're delaying the first email, I believe, 1 day. And then after that, you can delay as many emails, or you can build your entire email drip from there. So the advantage of this being built into your lead system is we can recognize when that auto insurance lead converts. So if they convert after email 1, we can recognize that and cut off the drip for that specific contact. So cross offers is certainly a really good campaign that certainly works in basically any vertical, but there's another one as well. David, if you could go back to the campaigns page, and then we can grab that 30-day reprocess campaign. So I mentioned at the beginning some specific advantages of being built into the lead system, and this type of campaign is one of the best examples. So in this campaign type, the end goal of this is to reprocess the original auto finance lead that is submitted into the system. So based on your lead type, there's usually some standard duplicate rules. So if you tried to resubmit the same auto finance lead within, generally speaking, 30 days, it's just going to get rejected by the system, and you're obviously wasting any marketing that went up that led to that lead. But with this system, what you can do is you can enter all your auto finance leads, all your matched leads into a list, and set up a campaign that will not send until day 30 or day 31 of that lead entering the system. So at this point, you can obviously send them to a landing page and have them resubmit a form and resubmit their lead. But with this campaign, we've actually taken that entire step out. So with this reprocess feature, all the user has to do is click on the email itself, any button you have in the email, and that can trigger a reprocess of the original lead and actually submit it as a new lead source. So if you'll see at the bottom of this campaign, you can see the end goal is a process. So the end goal, which is being a click on the email itself, actually reprocess that auto finance lead and into a new source email reprocess. So this is the perfect example of a campaign you can set one time. You can set to all auto finance leads as they enter the system, and then you can automatically reprocess any converting leads without any action taken by you. So obviously a great example for auto finance specifically, but again, this is something that would work on virtually any lead type you run. So finally, just one more thing I'd like to show you. At the beginning, we mentioned push notifications. So Dave, if you could return to the creative section. and the push notification sub-tab. All right, and then if you could open up that first push notification. So if you weren't already aware of what push notifications are, these are notifications that can be sent to a mobile browser or a desktop browser. It basically appears in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. This is actually a fairly new technology, but something you'll probably start seeing in a lot of websites moving forward. So we have the ability to send these push notifications with the same rules as sending out email campaigns. So as you can see in the example, you've got the basic title, you've got some text, and you've got a link that you can send the user to. So the way this works, and this is something we would certainly help you set up, is there's a piece of code that you would put on any page on your website, and then ask the user if they'd like to subscribe to your push notifications. If they say yes, they're automatically put into a basic list where you can then send these push notifications at any time. So again, this is a great way to market, very similar to emails, but the advantage here is there's an extremely high click rate with these, seeing how they appear right in your browser instead of being potentially buried in different spam folders in your inbox. Another advantage is we integrate with a service called OneSignal that's completely free to use. So if this is something you want to test out, this is definitely a great opportunity to do so. So that's basically everything I wanted to cover there. If outbound automation is something you'd like to test out, this is actually something we can really easily build into your system, and we're also offering a 3-month free trial for our clients. So if you're interested in trying that out, feel free to just open a ticket at any point, let us know you'd like to try it, and we can help you get set up. All right, David, I'll send it back over to you.
Cool. Thank you very much, Tyler, for that great presentation of outbound automation. So now I think it would be a great time to open it up to any Q&A, whether you have questions about call center verification or outbound automation, or really anything about the system. Feel free to type it in the chat, and we'll go ahead and get that answered. All right. Well, it looks like there's no questions at this point. I'll wait about 1 more minute to see if any questions come up, but looks like there aren't any questions. I know we did throw a lot of information at you today with a couple new features that you may have learned about. So if questions come up later on, feel free to email me. I did type my email in the chat. You can also create a ticket or use chat at boberdoo.com, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions there. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, once again for joining. I hope you found it very helpful, and I'll be sending all of you a recording of this webinar. All right. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.